3, 2, 1.
The WeatherTech Sports Car Championship on IMSA Radio.
Hello everybody and welcome to Canadian Tire Motorsport Park as we are ready to go qualifying 3 sessions for the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship and the Chevrolet Grand Prix with GT, LMP3 and then GTP qualifying. I'm John Hindhaugh with the rest of the crew, including Jeremy Shaw with me in the virtual booth, in the global booth, and Shea Adam is on site in the pit lane. Fantastic day here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, and thank you to all of you who have turned out this weekend. Always lovely to see such a great crowd here. We know how much you love your sports car racing here, and we are waiting for the first tranche of cars to go out. Let's get down to the pit lane. Shea Adam has some qualifying drivers for GTD and GTD Pro. Shea?
All of the qualifying drivers. So our pole sitter will be one of the names mentioned hereafter. In GTD Pro for Corvette Racing, it is Jordan Taylor, as previously mentioned. Klaus Bachler was the guy who got the honor of doing the mock quali early on. That's because he's doing actual qualifying for the FAF Motorsports Porsche. For the number 14 Lexus, it will be Jack Hawksworth, although he is not in the car, and you can hear just gently puttering away in the background. 4 mechanics are currently working around it right now, so it looks like they might be having some kind of an issue. I'll stay on top of that. It's Alex Riberas, as he told us earlier on, for the Heart of Racing, number 23 Aston Martin, and Jules Gagnon, newbie to this place, gets the honor of going qualifying. Oh man, that would be a lot of fun in the WeatherTech Racing Mercedes. In GTD, let's go back to front. It is Chandler Hull in the new chassis for Turner Motorsports, the number 97, the car which has been running in GTD Pro in the endurance races, back to GTD for the sprint. His sister car is Patrick Gallagher doing qualifying duties for the number 96. Kelly Moss with Riley. Those Porsches, well, it's Alan Metney behind the wheel of the number 91 and David Brulé in the 92. It is PJ Hyatt taking out Rexy for AO Racing in their Porsche. And the other Porsche in the field is Alan Brynjolfsson for Volt with Wright Motorsport. We've got Misha Goikberg, Canadian, prepared to take up the mantle and try and get a pole position here in front of his home crowd. That would be for Forte Racing by USRT. Brendan Reeb is given qualifying duties for the 70 Inception McLaren. And Sheena Monk is the other bronze-rated driver who will be doing qualifying. She's in charge of the Gradient Racing Acura number 66. It's Russell Ward and Mick Grenier. Mick, Canadian, looking to try and get it done here on home soil. Mick will be driving the 32 Team Cawthorpe Mercedes, while Russell Ward will be piloting Windward, finishing second here last year. For the other Aston Martin in the field, that is Roman DeAngelis, race winner last year and Ontario native. And then the pole sitter last year, well, that was Frankie Montecalvo. He'll be behind the wheel at the number 12. Finally, last but not least, honorary Canadian, well, actually technically Canadian, now that he's got a Canadian passport, Madison Snow, driving the Paul Miller Racing BMW.
Has he really? Okay, that I didn't know, Shea. Thank you very much indeed. Shea Adam down in the pit lane. Jeremy Shaw is in the Global Broadcast Centre with me, John Hindhaugh. Who comes into this with the big more? Jeremy, if we were sticking ball commentators, we would be looking towards the end of the season and either the playoffs or the end of the league play to crown a champion. We're in pretty much to the second half of the season here, and they always talk about the big more momentum. Who has momentum coming into this race this weekend?
Well, everybody has momentum, really, John. I mean, we've had 5 races. We've had 5 different winners, 4 different manufacturers. I mean, the momentum, I guess, would be with BMW because they won the most recent race at Watkins Glen a couple of weeks ago. However, it was Porsche that finished first on the road at that race, and it was only a minor technicality that win was taken away from them. So, and then this morning, it was the Acuras that were out front by a pretty sizable margin, in actual fact. So I think that the Acuras have got to feel good, I think, coming to this qualifying session, but it's wide open, and we've seen it's been so close amongst all 4 manufacturers in all of the races this season. I see no reason why this afternoon's qualifying should be any different.
Setting us up for a standard 2-hour 40-minute race tomorrow. The green flag is in the air as we qualify for the Chevrolet Grand Prix, and we are underway, just waiting for the cars to go out. And a long line of cars leaving the pits at the moment. Just waiting for the cars to leave the pit lane. Shea Adam is watching to see who is still sitting in the pit lane.
Very patient, actually. I'm quite surprised from Frankie Montecalvo and Jack Hawksworth, as the 12 is at least on the ground with the engine fired up. 14 is still in the air, but Jack Hawksworth has climbed aboard that car that currently leads the GTD Pro Championship. Coming to me now is Russell Ward, looking very ready and menacing to go out on track in the blue Techmet livered Windward Mercedes, and also very, very patient, as there goes Frankie. Good luck, Frankie. Very patient, Klaus Bachler, waiting for all of Canada to try and represent well with the plaid Porsche.
So just waiting for someone to flick the switch at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park so we can actually talk to the fans there. But if you're listening on IMSA Radio, good to have your company. And hello to all of you who are trackside. So 13 minutes to go. And Jeremy Shaw well, first of all, straight back in Gilles Guinon, but that might just be a bit of a spanner check. So, Jeremy, perfect conditions here, isn't it?
I would say so, yeah. I mean, it's certainly warmer than it was earlier on. I'm not sure what the ambient, what did you say the ambient was?
Ambient is 23 Celsius, which is around
pretty
about
comfortable.
top 60s.
Yeah, pretty comfortable. So,
yeah, lovely.
Ideal conditions for going fast. And we certainly saw some very fast lap times from GTD earlier on today. The fastest time in Pro was set right at the end on a clear track by Jack Hawksworth at a 1:14.9. The lap record in GTD Pro was set last year by Matthew Jaminet at a 1:15.4. So well inside of that. In GTD non-pro, Loris Spinelli turned a 1:15.2 this morning, and Jack Hawksworth ironically has the lap record, the official lap record in GTD that was set back in 2018 at 1:15.5. Last year, Frankie Montecalvo put his GTD car on the pole position for Lexus, Vasser Sullivan Lexus, at 1:15.6.
Alex Riberas goes to the top with a 1:21.441, and Roman De Angelis makes it a Heart of Racing double at this early point in the running with a 1:24.0 to be top of GTD. And for once, Jeremy, and relatively unusually, we have 2 GTD pros out ahead of the GTD ARM cars.
That's right. Yeah, Loris Spinelli had the he was the overall pace setter last time out at Watkins Glen, and he was quickest for most of the session. It was only right at the very end that Jack Hawksworth managed to dip below his time. But you're right, at the moment it's a 1-2 for the pro guys, so a feather in their cap with Alex Riberas just ahead of Jordan Taylor. Actually quite a long way ahead of Jordan Taylor on his first flying lap. But now Frankie Montecalvo lays that to rest with another GTD non-pro car goes to the top at 1:19.4. And everybody's now completed 2 laps, so There's a feather in the cap for Frankie Monticalvo.
So two different classes here in GTD Pro and GTD. GTD Pro with the red backgrounds to their numbers, and GTD Am with the green number backgrounds. The machinery is identical and runs to the same performance levels. It is the makeup of the driving team that determines which of those two categories that the various teams go into. So potentially there's no reason why we shouldn't have GTD cars ahead of GTD Pros in the race or in this session, except for the fact that the non-pro drivers have to qualify here for GTD. So just waiting for Jules Gounod and the WeatherTech Racing Mercedes to leave. In fact, he's just gone out of the pit lane exit now. Big day for WeatherTech as they are debuting in the FIA World Endurance Championship today and this weekend at Monza with the GT P car, with the hypercar, with Proton. Harry Tinknell qualifying that car earlier on today. They've said they just want to get some laps with Christian Reed's organisation, and they did well, and they weren't last, and they've just got that car, so they did a good job. We've seen how well, and we will see in the next, not the next session, but the session afterwards, the private version of that car here as well. Now, bit of movement coming onto the Maria Andretti straight, number 23, Alex Riveras, part of racing team 1 and 2 now in GT, just having to carve his way past the number 79 of Jules Gounod, who has just left the pit lane, in behind the number 3 Corvette of Jordan Taylor as well. In fact, the two partner racing cars coming to turn 8 now and into the S's and running together as Jack Hawksworth goes to the top, Jeremy Shaw, in a rich vein of form for Vasser Sullivan and for Lexus.
Well, he really is. I mean, he's absolutely right in the crest of a wave of confidence right now. They've been on the podium in every single race this season for Vasser Sullivan in that number 14 car in GTD Pro, and coming off the win a couple of weeks ago at Watkins Glen in the Salem 6 hours, when everything is going the way of that team. And Jack Hawksworth is just driving brilliantly, absolutely superb. He nailed it this morning in that qualifying sim, and now he's turned a 1:15.029, which is well, within a tenth of a second of his fastest time this morning, which was 3/10 ahead of anybody else in a GTD car.
Full coverage of the WEC tomorrow. If you missed qualifying because you were too busy doing something else today, we had it live earlier on today, and then you can go to radiolemans.com and relive that. I won't spoil it for you, so go on to that. Our archive is already up, it's all free, and except that there was a lot going on today, really you should have been watching that. It's very good indeed. So that's available for you now on our sister service at radiolemans.com. A lot of interest from IMSA over there, with AO and WeatherTech running, as well as a number of drivers that you will recognise if you follow IMSA Radio normally. Alex Riberos, Roman De Angelis back in the pits for Hunter Racing Team, with half of the session still going. Now, Jeremy, there's nothing they can do with those cars. They can't even bleed tyre pressures here. So are they finished? Do they think they've done enough, or are they just taking a breather?
Well, we'll find out, of course, with 6 minutes still remaining in the session. But I would think they probably think they've done what they can do. I mean, they've each completed 6 laps, including the in lap there. And they've probably got the best out of those Michelin tyres, I would think. So yeah, I would think so.
Jack Hawksworth provisionally on pole position for the GT category. Should mention that we don't split these cars So at the moment, it's GTD Pro, GTD Pro, GTD, GTD Pro, GTD, GTD, GTD Pro. That's how they line up, Jeremy. We're not doing a class split here for the purposes of qualifying. This is one category.
It is indeed, and I love that aspect to it. Now we've got 3 GTD Pro cars at the front, with Jules Gounon just moved up into 2nd position in the WeatherTech Mercedes, car number 79. He's turned a 1:15.250. First time here at this racetrack for the Frenchman. And he did a really good lap this morning as well. Did a 15.3 this morning in the qualifying sim. He's found another 1/10 of a second, but he's still a couple of tenths behind Jack Hawksworth. But that was a really good lap also by Roman De Angelis, who's fastest of the non-pro cars. I should say, already onto pit lane in the Hart Racing Team Aston Martin, car number 27, the relatively local driver, lives in Windsor, Ontario these days, but it's still good enough by, what, 0.0, not very many, over Frankie Montecalvo in the Vasser Sullivan Lexus car number 12, and in between them on the charts is Jordan Taylor's Corvette number 3.
A couple of people wondering why Gounon might have gone out, come in and went back out again. He might have been looking for a bit of space, get a bit of heat into the tyres and then go again. It's worked for him as he's up to 2nd place. And now has a bit of track to himself, going over the top at turn 2, through the left-hander at Clayton corner, up to Quebec corner. Used the hill to slow you down really late apex, didn't get anywhere near it there, Gounon, so he may have lifted off. The 23, the 27 Heart of Racing Astons back in the pit lane, not looking like, well, there's nobody can touch them, so you wouldn't expect a lot of people around them, but they're not looking like they may be done for the afternoon with just 3 minutes to go. Lexus, who have been brilliant in qualifying recently, into the pits for Frankie Montecalvo in the GTD version. Jack Hawksworth has already pitted. Well, in fact, they've come in together. So first and... where are we? First and second, GTD Pro and GTD for those two.
Yeah, and after Watkins Glen, when they won both categories for the first time this season, that'd be almost a disappointment. But look, Frankie Montecalvo, I think he was 0.03 of a second behind Roman De Angelis. Roman found a couple of tenths compared to his best time this morning, so he'll be thrilled with that. And it's currently good enough by, as I say, just 0.03 of a second Aston Martin over Lexus. Madison Snow, he's into the pits also, I believe, yes, in car number 1, 3rd fastest Paul Miller Racing in the BMW.
Still out there, Lexi turning a few laps. This is the number 80 bright green AO Racing Porsche with the T-Rex colour scheme. Full engine change for that. So a brand new 4.2 litre flat 6 installed, transplanted into Lexi earlier on. And hello to everybody on the Discord groups who've been following the various endurance races that we've had on RSL today already. Still got another 3 hours to go in Estoril. We've had NLS, we've had Monza qualifying, and still to come today the remainder of WeatherTech Sports Car Championship qualifying, as well as the Michelin Pilot Challenge as well for the Chevrolet Grand Prix, the 120, which comes up later on today in sound and vision for those of you outside of the US. No blocks, no breaks, no subscriptions, no interruptions. Pure racing from IMSA Radio and IMSA TV, as it has always been. Across the line for the blue and yellow BMW of Turner Motorsport, and does not improve. Renier improved last time around in the court of Mercedes, 1:15.6 for 9th position overall and 4th in class. Few I'm not surprised that there's a few people still doing laps here, particularly Jeremy, the 8-hole racing car, as they did that engine swap earlier on today. They'll be just wanting to check everything out.
Yeah, and hats off to PJ Hyatt there. Just as you say, a few exploratory laps at the end of the morning session, having made that engine change. But he's now fastest of all the bronze drivers, which are 4 in this race. So that's a feather in the cap for PJ Hyatt there. 10th quickest overall in GTD. His best lap time around 16.9. Fair way behind the pro FAF car, of course, from Klaus Bachler, 29th with a 15.5. But yeah, a little bit more than the second. It's a pretty good effort by PJ Hyatt. I think that AO team would be pleased, very pleased, I would suggest, with that time.
I think they'll be delighted with that, given the amount of work they've had on the feature. I think you're absolutely right. Never an easy thing to do when you have to change major components. And there is no major component than an engine, let's be honest. Checkered flag is out.
Last time, Alan Brynjolfsson in the Wright Motorsports number 77 Volt Porsche, he just turned a lap just 2 thousandths away from his best time, and he's 400ths behind PJ Hyatt, so he'll be a little bit disappointed with that, I think. But and less than a tenth of a second behind him also is Alan Metney in the number 91 Kelly Moss with Riley Porsche, and that team, by the way, went out of its way earlier this week to thank several other Porsche teams that have come to its aid after a testing crash for Alan Metney here right after the race at Watkins Glen. They came up here, a big crash, but a lot of teams in the paddock come to the Kelly Moss team's aid and help them get that car prepared for this weekend.
I love the camaraderie, and when we're not on track, we're working remotely this weekend, as are our colleagues at NBC, as they do for most races actually. I do miss the camaraderie of the paddock, and it goes to show that yes, they are absolutely fierce competitors on track, but they want to win. Generally speaking, they want to win, and they want to win in the right way, and not having one of your competitors out there is not the way people want to win, and if they can help, they do, and I love that about this. I do like that about sports car racing in the IMSA paddock particularly, Jeremy.
Yeah, it's tremendous, isn't it? As you say, rivals on the track, but there is a great spirit amongst all of the teams in this paddock, and if somebody needs a helping hand in some way, shape or form, they're always willing to give that, as long as it doesn't cost them competitively on the racetrack.
Well, that's right. We want to win, but we want to win in the right way. Well, we have a pole sitter in GTD Pro, that Jack Hawksworth lap for Vassar Sullivan in the Lexus. Another pole position for Lexus. Some thought that Lexus might find its way into the FIA WEC next year because the new car might not quite be ready yet, and my goodness me, it's shown to be very competitive. One of the older cars, if not the oldest car now in GTD Pro and therefore GT3. And in GTD it will be Aston Martin, so 2 front engine cars on the respective poles. It's 3 GTD Pros, Lexus, Mercedes, Aston, and then in fact it's an all Heart of Racing second row, because they have the 3rd place in GTD Pro and the pole in GTD. We'll just wait for those cars to roll down to Shea Adam and have a chat with them, just having a look to see if there's anybody massively out of kilter then. I actually don't think they are. Russell Ward would like to have been further up, I think, than 7th position in GTD in the Winward Mercedes. But he'll take that from there. Let's go down to Roman De Angelis, pole sitter for the race tomorrow. Shea Adam.
Well, and Roman, you said finally, but this is your 2nd pole position. The first one coming in at a very emotional weekend for you back in Lime Rock. You went on to win that race. You've already won this race last year. What's it like to get a pole position in Canada, the only one we can?
Yeah, it feels good. I mean, I've struggled the last few years in qualifying. It's kind of been my weak point. always been pretty okay in the race and everything, but overdrive quite a bit in qualifying. So we're working to dial that in, and I think we found something. So really happy. The Heart of Racing provided an awesome car, Aston Martin Racing. Tomorrow's going to be a great day, so we'll see if we can put on a show.
And you got Alex alongside you, so you guys can work together off the start. It's even better.
Yeah, it's perfect. Nobody had rally next to me, so we'll have a lot of fun tomorrow.
Good luck in the race, and congrats on pole.
Thank you. Thanks.
You've got to hope, Jeremy, that they will be speaking to each other with Alex Riberas and Roman De Angelis on row 2, with two cars that will be fighting ahead of them because they are Lexus and Mercedes. What they don't need to do is get in each other's way to at the start of the race in GTD tomorrow.
Yeah, that's right. But yeah, we've just seen some tremendous racing this season in GTD and GTD Pro, and tomorrow's race is going to be super tight. We've had some balance performance tweaks coming into this weekend, and all the cars look to be pretty closely matched, I would suggest here. We've got not much to choose between. We've got 14 cars within a second, well, just over a second, I guess, but it's really tight in all of those classes, and the race tomorrow is going to be tremendous.
Shea Adam is with our first repeat pole sitter in GT this year. That's Jack Hawksworth for Lexus.
And he is doing the proper thing, celebrating with the entire team, giving credit to his over-the-wall crew, handing the flag off so that other people get to celebrate as well. And Jack Hawksworth very much hoping that this pole goes the same way as the last one, because that was Long Beach and that started their championship hunt. So holding up number 1. They've rightly earned that so far this year, leading the championship quite commandingly. More than a 100-point lead for the 14 Vassar Sullivan crew. Let's get in here with Jack. Jack, it's your 8th pole, your 2nd here. Do you want every qualifying session to be at CTMP?
Yeah, we love it here. It's always been an amazing track for us, so we always know when we come here, it's kind of the one we got circled on the calendar where we know if there's a track we can be good at, it's going to be here. And, to get the pole is a great way to start the weekend, and it's super pumped now for the rest of the weekend. We know the next race is going to be tough, so we got to make it count here, and the guys are just firing on all cylinders at the minute, and the Vassar Sullivan boys been mega, and cars obviously Lexus RCF's hooked up as it always is around here, so mega happy with it.
Well, up until this session, you held the lap record in GTD as far as qualifying was concerned. You blew that record out of the water by half a second today. What is it that has changed about this team, this organization, this car that makes it so much faster?
Well, I think the conditions today are good, but again, for us as a team, we're just gelling, right? Like everyone's firing all cylinders, me and Ben are hitting his marks. The boys are unbelievable on pit lane, and the engineering's been fantastic. So really, just such a group effort, and every weekend we're going out and we're making it happen. So we stay focused now. We've done today, but tomorrow's when it counts. So we've got a big day ahead, and we plan on making it happen.
Congrats on another well-deserved pole.
Thank you. Cheers.
The oldest car, Jeremy, in GTD, how much more performance can they keep wringing out of this Lexus? It's extraordinary.
It is impressive, isn't it? But
yeah.
Hey, look, that's what development is all about. And there's not a lot you can change because everything is homologated on these
True.
cars. But just understanding it, comes with experience. The more you run it, the better you get to know the car. What little tiny tweaks can find a bit more pace. And Jack Hawksworth, as I say, he's driving brilliantly right now. His 9th pole position in this championship. In addition, by the way, to 4 fastest times set in that a couple of years ago when we had those weird pro and non-pro sessions for GTD. But his 9th proper pole, just quite a few of which, by the way, came in the PC ranks several years ago. But look, he's a great guy. He's a real team player. It's just a super organisation there at the moment this season. Vassar Sullivan, everything's gelling together really, really well. The guys all hang out together, get along with each other very, very well. Aaron Tielitz and Franco Montecalvo in the non-pro car. They're all benefiting from each other's experience, I think, in these cars. And Frankie Montecalvo, he'll start from the 2nd position again. That's the 4th time this season that number 12 car will have started 2nd in GTD.
Tell you what, Jeremy, if the rumours are to be believed, and that's Lexus RCF GT3 is heading to the WEC, the World Endurance Championship, and potentially to Le Mans next year, I think it will still be competitive. We've seen it up against the absolute newest of GT3 cars here in IMSA competition, and it's more than holding its own.
Yeah, it's brilliant, isn't it? And I just love the variety that we have right now with all these different manufacturers and all proving to be pretty closely matched. As I said earlier on, some tweaks to the balance performance this weekend to help out a few of the other teams, notably not to the Lexus or the Aston Martin, which are still toward the frontier, but the Mercedes has qualified second position. The Corvette's right up there. The best of the Porsches, Klaus Bachler, he's a half a second off the ultimate time, but again, he's still learning this racetrack. His first time here. Correct. In race conditions after that test they had last month.
We've just gone green for LMP3 qualifying. We'll run through the qualifying drivers in a moment. Let's just recap what we've seen. It's Lexus and Vasser Sullivan, the 14 car, on pole for the Chevrolet Grand Prix tomorrow in GTD. In second, it will be another pro car, the WeatherTech Racing Mercedes, Jules Gounon, on qualifying duties, and therefore we'll start the race with the 79 tomorrow. On the second row, it's the heart of racing, two Aston Martins, and it's the 23 Pro car from the 27 GTD car. On row 3, Jordan Taylor for Corvette in the number 3 Pro car, Frank Montecalvo for Vasser Sullivan in the 12, the green number background on the Lexus RCF GT3 for the GTD non-Pro. Rounding up the top 10, Klaus Bachler in 7th for Pfaff and the Porsche, best of the Porsches, just half a second away, as Jeremy said, so that's better for the Porsche than we've seen in recent races. Madison Snow is the third best GTD car, but that only puts him 8th for Paul Miller Racing in the first of the BMWs, however. So might not be happy with that, but they're the best of the BMWs. Michael Grenier in 9th for the 32 Korthoff AMG, and rounding off the top 10, Turner Motorsport in the 96, Patrick Gallagher. That's how the front 5 rows will line up tomorrow. Shea Adam, this is easy in terms of the starting or the qualifying drivers for LMP3.
This one is much more simple to try and figure out, but I was assisted by seeing people's helmets as they were driving out the pit lane. We've got Antoine Camus and the number 4, that is for Ave Motorsports, Ori Fidani and Anthony Mantella representing Canada and the home track very well, real home track for Ori, and the Duquesnes for AWA Racing. We've got Ari Baylog, welcome back Ari, for Junior 3 Racing, that's the number 30. Number 33 is Lance Wilsey, he's already had a bit of on-track time today for Sean Creech Motorsport in the form of a race. And finally, last but certainly not least, championship leader for Riley, that would be one Mr. Gar Robinson.
This is going to be an absolute cracker of a session. Just 6 cars, but expect this to be nip and tuck all the way through. The Michelin tyres stay true and with performance all the way through as the VP Racing Fuel burns off, Jeremy, and time again we've seen pole position being snatched. I was going to say at the 15-minute mark, but actually normally it's about 15 minutes or 16 minutes because people get across the line and do one more lap, and it's almost last man across the line takes pole.
Yeah, brilliant, isn't it? It's been absolutely tremendous, and I love this aspect of the LMP3 class, like the PCs that preceded them. The longer you go, that you burn off the fuel. The tyres are so durable and consistent in this category that you can stay out the entire 15 minutes and just get faster and faster and faster, and that makes the sessions so exciting. Just looking down to see who's the best pace of the non-pro drivers, if you like, in from the practice sessions so far. That would be Gar Robinson, who's turned at 1:12.8. He had about half a second over Ori Fidani in this morning's session, the second practice session. And it's, of course, Gar Robinson, who's on the pole here with the qualifying lap record last year at 1:13.1.
Jeremy Shaw with Shea Adam and me, John Hindhoff. Shea in the pit lane, making sure that she is our eyes and ears and making sure you get everything live in sound and vision for you with no subscription. No blocks, no breaks, no interruptions for this session. And if you're outside Canada and the US tomorrow for the main race, you'll have us on the world feed. And don't forget XM Sirius as well. 202 is our channel again for tomorrow. If you're further afield, then as ever, you'll have full flag-to-flag coverage. In North America, it's as ever NBC Sports who are looking after you. Check local listings for details, I think is the correct phraseology for that. Right, let's have a look at some of these times. 1:13.261 by Gar Robinson and a 1:13.654 for Ore Fadani, with Anthony Mantella with a 1:13.8, Jeremy. How much more is there to come then? Are we expecting to see these times come down massively?
Well, we just have no. Gar Robinson just did a 12.9.
He's answered my question for me, hasn't he?
He has, hasn't he? And yeah, so he's on the case now. Is Guy? He loves this racetrack, as just about everybody else. And his fastest lap this morning was a 12. No, it was a 12.8. So he's not quite down. He's within a tenth of a second, just outside a tenth of a second of his best lap this morning, but he's only completed 4 laps, so I'm sure there is more to come from that number 74 car.
And only 6 cars saw not the traffic issues that we might have had with GTD and GTD Pro, although I have to say I didn't see anybody massively getting held up there, so they all played well. And here there's really no excuses for people to be getting caught up, although we do have what we call in the trade clumping, which is I think it was Paul Truswell who coined that phrase at Le Mans a few years ago, where no matter how many or how few cars there are, or no matter how short or how long a track, they do seem at some stage to be attracted to each other. Gar Robinson with a 12.9. Now we're talking, Jeremy. That is throwing overhand.
Yeah, just only fractionally quicker than his previous lap, wasn't it? But 12.9, he's got 7 tenths in hand now over Ore Fadani, who's once again second in the category right now. That'd be a good run for Ore if he can maintain that. He's got 3 tenths in hand over his teammate Anthony Mantella, so he'll be pleased with that run so far, no question about it. Another Canadian, though, is Antoine Comeau in the 5th position at the moment. He's based in Chicago these days, but originally from the Montreal area. He's a commodities trader in Chicago, making his WeatherTech Sports Car Championship debut this weekend with RV Motorsports in number 4, Ligier.
Lucky fella, much envy. The metallic green of Anthony Mantella in the Duquesne coming to the end of the straight, looking brilliant in the sunshine with the darker hindquarters and the pinstripe of the maple leaf on the back of the car, leaving us with no doubt where his roots lie. Robinson goes quicker, barely, Jeremy, a 9.46 this time. He's sharpening a razor blade here, isn't he, at the front of the field?
Goodness gracious, yeah, it was a 12.970, then a 9.60, now a 9.46 for Gar Robinson. So 3 really good laps there compared to everybody else. Ore Fadani also, no, it hasn't improved, not quite last time around. But yeah, 3 really good laps from Gar Robinson. He's showing us the same sort of form he had here to win the pole position last season.
So coming into the last 6.5 minutes, and so far everybody has stayed away from each other. Gar just heading up to turn 8 at the moment into the S's. Behind him he's got Ore Fadani, so the 2 leading cars coming through into turn 10 and through it now, across the start finish line for Gar. And a 13.1, so that was a slower lap. Ore Fadani a 13.5, so maybe just a slow down lap. Meantime, Antoine Comeau for RV Motorsports in the red, white and black number 4 car comes to the end of his lap. And and heads across the line. 14.2 he has, 14.4 it was. Ari Baylock improved though last time around for Junior 3, as we've got some of the LMDH cars, the GTP cars, coming onto the pit lane. Stay with us for that. You do not want to miss this. You do not. IMSA.tv, IMSARadio.com, click the top left hamburger and live video wherever you are, either here in the States or further afield. WeatherTech Sports Car Championship qualifying is free in sound and vision. 5 minutes to go, and you do not want to miss the 20 minutes of qualifying with a potential tyre change as well, with new Michelin tyres being slapped on halfway through for the GTPs and their first visit here. Don't miss it. Into the pit lane. First of the cars to blink is our fastest car. The provisional pole sitter of Gar Robinson says, that's it, a 12.9 is what I've got. I'm sticking on that, if you will, in the gamble at the pontoon table of qualification here, Jeremy.
Absolutely right, and that's a really good lap. I mean, look, to put things into perspective for Gar, it's a couple of tenths quicker than he managed last year to win the pole position for this race. And it's just about 4 tenths, less than 4 tenths away from Garrett Grist's fastest lap of the race last year. Garrett, of course, a pro driver, originally from Whitby, Ontario, just down the road from here.
Yeah.
So got a lot of experience around here. He's super fast. He has set the fastest lap in practice here this weekend in the 11s. Which is way faster than his old lap record, but still, that's a stout effort from Gar, and it's looking increasingly likely it'll be another pole position for the Texan in that car number 74. That is always the car to beat here. That'll be pole number 4 for Gar.
You mentioned Whitby there, and immediately
he's from Grimsby. Sorry, he's from Grimsby.
Oh, Grimsby. Even so,
I always say that wrong. I'm so sorry.
No, it matters not, because all it got
Oh,
me
it does.
Well, not in the
The
context.
Yorkshiremen or
Well, it matters not in the context is what I was about to say, because Grimsby and Whitby both have good fish and chip shops here in the UK, and it's Saturday night here in the UK, and I'm thinking, ooh. You mentioned Whitby, and I thought, oh, fish and chips. That was the first thing that came, and it didn't change when you mentioned Grimsby, in all fairness. A lot of place names around Canadian Tire Motorsport Park that ring bells with us from the UK. There's a Sunderland up there as well, of course, which is my hometown. So top 2 in the pit lane. Still the other 4 cars running, and Ari Baylock improved again last time around to a 13.8. Needs to find about another 1/10 of a second to swap sides on the second row, but at the moment it's Ligier and Duquesne, Gar Robinson for Riley, and Ore Fadani for AWA. What a journey it's been for Ore Fadani, Jeremy, really building his confidence and his experience coming up through the ranks here at IMSA. Not an easy thing to do, and it's got to be managed in the right way. And Ore now showing what experience and confidence can do for you.
That's right, and he obviously has a special affinity for this track with the family involvement in that ownership group. Spent a lot of time up here, and as you say, he's gaining experience. He struggled, I think it's fair to say, when he first started in these cars, but he's getting quicker and quicker. And Anthony Mantella, as his teammate here at AWA, number 17 car, has got a pretty good amount of experience in all sorts of different cars, and Ori has out-qualified him here by 3/10 of a second, at least at the moment, with still how long to go? A minute and a half remaining. Yeah, so not very much, but that's a good effort by Ori Fadani, no question.
So down to the last minute or so of the session. Gar Robinson having pulled in after completing 7 laps, Ori Fadani 8. There is a part of me that likes to see what Ori's done there, because whether the team called him in or whether he said, do you know what, I've done as well as I can, that's pretty smart, because trying too hard in these sessions with a race tomorrow, you do not want to ball the car up into the wall, and we've all done it. Just ran the tyres a little bit too far, thought we were doing worse than we were and tried a little bit too hard. And he's not done that, so fair play to him for that. 3 out of the top 4 are in as Antti Mantella for AWA comes in, and Ari Baylog goes up into 3rd position with a 13.9. So he has swapped sides on the second row, Jeremy, and he needs 2.5 more tenths to get on the front row.
Yeah, and he'll get, I think this will probably be, he's at the...
This will be his last lap.
Yeah, I think it will be his last lap, won't he? But yeah, and hats off to Ari here. I mean, he had an accident 2 weeks ago at Watkins Glen, didn't take part in the race there because of that incident. But this is a really good bounce back by Ari here to be 3rd fastest, splitting those 2 AWA cars with what is by far his best lap of the weekend so far. Hats off to Ari Baylog in car number 30.
It's really hard. It is a skill to switch on tyres straight away. It's one that I've never had, and therefore my last lap in qualifying is normally my quickest. Ari close to his best at the end, a couple of tenths away, but will start in P3. That is, I'm very impressed with that. The checkered flag comes out, and so the 74 Ranch Resort Riley run Ligier ahead of a Duquesne on the front row by half a second, and Gar Robinson is heading down to you, Shea Adam, at the end of pit lane. Another good performance by Gar.
Only his 4th pole. Hard to believe that Gar Robinson has only won the pole position 3 times prior to today. And this has been one of those tracks that he has not yet found success at. His best finish here is actually 11th, and that was in GTD back in 2019. What? So for Gar, he wants something a little bit more. I know, he DNF'd last year. He would have had a better finish if he had actually finished the race, but that one was not with Felipe Fraga. Now they're reunited once again for this weekend. 2 guys who are darn well best friends. And Gar gives a big burst of the engine to celebrate as he comes into his spot. He's going to be a very happy guy. But yeah, Felipe's actually getting married fairly soon. Gar going all the way down to Brazil for a day to be a part of the wedding party. Oh, he's so happy. He's pumping his fists. He's celebrating inside the cockpit of the car, trying to get completely detangled before he can pull himself out. There we go. The man who's won every major endurance race in North America now claims pole position at one of the most intimidating tracks in North America. And Gar, you did it. Pole at CTMP. What's this feeling?
Well, I'm a really big roller coaster fan, and this is probably one of the best roller coasters ever made. So the excitement here is awesome. I mean, this track is unlike anything else, and Felipe's having a fantastic time too this week. He's saying that this is one of his favorite tracks around the world, and that's like with Bathurst and everything like that too. But no, we're having I guess our first earned pole this year. I guess we got the pole last week, but it wasn't really earned. But no, this one's definitely sweet, and we're excited to be on front. And but it's still a long race, and we just have to see how it all goes.
Best place to start from, though. Congrats.
Yeah, this is one of the ones in the collection I don't have yet, so we're gonna try our best.
And hey, man, you got to go to Canada's Wonderland if you like roller coasters. That's just up the highway a little bit. I didn't think that was going to be so hard to twist his arm.
No, absolutely. Shea Adam down with Gar Robinson on pole position down at the end of pit lane. And great, Jeremy, to see how much that young man enjoys his motor racing and enjoys the competition.
Brilliant, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, he's thrilled to be here, loves the challenge this place presents, and been on a pole here before, but as Shea was saying, not had the results that he deserves and desires. He ended up, even with the DNF last year, ended up with 5th place points, but didn't see the checkered flag. You're right, so he wants to set that straight first of all, see the checkered flag, and then go for that victory tomorrow afternoon.
So the only car in the 72-second mark, the 1 minute 12 mark, barely, but enough, 1:12.946, was that Riley or Fadani, half a second, 4 tenths actually behind. Let's not over-egg the pudding there. 1:13.409. 2 tenths ahead of the second row of Ari Baylog. What a run for Junior 3 Racing in the second of the Ligier. So Ligier Duquesne with Antti Mantella in the second of the AWA cars in 4th position. Those top 4 separated by 3/4 of a second. that's probably a car and a half's length across the line, if that, to be honest. Antoine Commeur had his best lap on his last lap, a 13.8, good enough for 5th position. And Lance Wilsey for Sean Creech Motorsport in 6th position. So that's your top 6 qualifiers for LMP3, and that's it. Thanks very much, and we'll wave goodbye to you. Oh, what am I saying? Of course not. We are ready for something that is going to be, I think, quite extraordinary around here. So when I say take a deep breath, because it might be the last time you get to take one for 20 minutes, I'm not kidding. As the GTP cars are ready to go for the first time in this current iteration of rules and formula for GTP around here. The DPIs were brilliant around here and got within a tenth or so of the Audi R10 TDI's race lap record, 105.8 to 105.9 in terms of racing. Now these cars we'll see next are nowhere near as far through their development, but I'm excited to see what they can do. They'll be super quick down the tubes. And Shea Adam is down in the pit lane to give us our qualifiers for the GTP field. Shea, what you got?
All right, for the Acura armament, we have for Meyershank Racing, the guy who put it on pole last year and set the fastest lap in the race, Tom Blomqvist. For Wayne Taylor Racing with Andretti Autosport, that would be the number 10 Konica Minolta Acura. That is one Mr. Ricky Taylor, 2 times a pole sitter here in the past. Let's go for JDC next. That is going to be Rocky. His best finish at this track coming in 2005 in the American Le Mans Series. So it's been a minute since he's been unleashed here, like he will properly be in qualifying once a green flag flies. Up next, would you like Cadillacs, Porsches, BMWs? Which one, John?
Cadillacs.
Cadillac Cavalry involves Sebastian Bourdais in the 0-1 for Cadillac Racing Chip Ganassi. And for the other car, that would be the 31 Whelen Engineering. Take half a step back. Durrani is behind the wheel of the red machine. We go to, I'm going to say BMW next, because let's step away from red for a second. In BMW, we've got Nick Yelly, who we heard from earlier, very much enjoying this track. He is going to be behind the wheel of the number 25 BMW M Team RLL, and the sister car will have Augusta Farfus, rookie to this track. For both of those drivers, hard to believe that neither of them have been to this great institute before. That is the sound of Blomqvist firing up his Acura in the back row, by the way. And last but certainly not least, for Porsche Penske Motorsport in the number 6, which I saw with duct tape over the brake ducts. Interesting combination there. But they are taking every bit of arrow that they can possibly give to Matthew Jaminet to try and give him an advantage. Let's see if it works. They did not do the same on the 7. Felipe Nasser with a different strategy than his sister car. Let's see which one goes faster.
Very interesting, thank you. And Jeremy, we talked about momentum. Nick Yellerly coming back from winning the crowd strike, 24 hours of Spa just a week ago. Different machinery, but confidence is a remarkable thing.
It is, isn't it? And yeah, it is amazing. You know, the only one of the 4 BMW Team RLL drivers who's been here before is Colin De Filippi. So the others are a very steep learning curve. They've spent some time on the simulator to prepare for here, and as you say, Yellerly and Eng, they were part of that Spa 24 Hours victory, weren't they? Yeah. So you know, again, riding that crest of confidence, perhaps, and certainly, you know, we heard from Nick earlier on today, and he's loving the challenge that Canadian Tire Motorsport Park presents.
Lazy spin coming out of Moss Corner earlier today for the 0-1 Cadillac, Jeremy. No damage to that, but a bit of an odd one. And Sebastian Bourdais is in that car, ready to go. By his own admission, he's found it a little bit difficult to get used, particularly to the brake-by-wire, but he's not shirking from that challenge.
It's not easy at all. It's great, really good attitude he's had this season. and the problem at Long Beach was under braking for sure. This one just seemed to be, as he got on the power, the car just sort of lazy spin, as you suggest there, and coming out of turn 5 this morning on an outlap. And it just shows again how difficult it is to get these tyres up to temperature here. It's a harder tyre than we've used in the past for the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship from Michelin. It's more durable and more environmentally conscious as well, but it certainly it presents major problems for the drivers. It's really tricky to get these tyres up to speed, and it was another 6 or 7 laps before Sebastian finally nailed it on his final lap in this morning's practice session to jump his way up into the 4th position ahead. Was splitting the 2 Porsches. So let's see what he can do here this afternoon.
Let us make no bones at all about this. These GTP cars are, as we go green, are proper race cars. They are tricky race cars to drive, particularly on cold tyres. No tyre warmers here, by the way. Not passing any comment, just FYI. And these are complicated race cars. Anyone who thinks that these are dumbed down LMP1 cars from a few years ago, or that they are just, in inverted commas, in quotation marks, an LMP2 chassis with a bit of bodywork on, you're wrong. These cars are extremely impressive race cars in their own right. We have the manufacturers able to influence the engine, the configuration, and also the styling of the cars. And more importantly, there's a heck of a lot, Jeremy, going on under the skin and behind the scenes with the software that controls. I accept that it is a standard, a spec battery pack and hybrid, but far from that as far as the software, the control software to bring the internal combustion engine, the hybrid, the brake-by-wire systems, those are all going on, still being developed behind the scenes at some pace as well by all of the manufacturers here.
You're right. I mean, these are very complicated, sophisticated race cars, and it's fair to say, I think, going into the first race of the season at Daytona, the Rolex 24, there was a lot of trepidation amongst the GTP field as to, how many problems were they going to have, and remarkably, there were very few problems technically during that open race of the season. I mean, it was against everybody's expectations, I think. And since then, as you say, there's been a lot of development, more understanding as well. That's probably the biggest thing, because everything is completely different to what has been run previously by these teams in this championship. So it's a steep learning curve for everybody involved on the technical side, and they've really done an excellent job to progress things, maintain a pretty good level of reliability. And particularly considering, as you say, how new these cars are. So it's been a remarkable season so far, and yeah, these cars are fast. They're ultimately at the moment not quite as quick as the old DPI cars, but speak to any of these drivers and they love the challenge that these cars present.
Not quite as quick yet. I have a feeling there will be one car not out. Oh, just going out the pit lane now, the 01 Cadillac. Shea Adam has an update on Sebastian Bourdais' mount for this session.
Sebastian actually left the pit lane, did a sighting lap, scuffed in a set of tires, and then came back out for the tires that he can actually go to qualify on. But now the Chip Ganassi crew putting another set of tires up on the wall. So it looks like Bourdais will scuff in 3 sets of tires. Remember, 3 are allowed for the GTP cars during the course of qualifying and the race. He is effectively scuffing in tires for tomorrow's race. And then this 3rd set, which confusingly has the number 4 on it, that will be the set that he uses to try and set a fast lap. JDC is now in with Mike Rockenfeller. They are putting his 2nd set of tires on the car as well. He scuffed one in. The other car to do that was the 25 BMW. Nick Yellowly went out, did a lap, came back and swapped out the tires. And now he's sitting patiently in his pit box, but we still have yet to see movement from Matthew Jaminet. He still sits patiently as his box as the sister car in the number 7 just blast by me on the track.
So let's wait to see how they go straight back into the pit lane for the 01, the gold-fronted Cadillac of Sebastian Bourdais. as Ricky Taylor starts to pick up the pace. Don't expect these cars to go flat out straight away. These tyres are meant to do at least 2 stints, and therefore they need to be treated with respect and brought in gently. And you'll see this in the race tomorrow as well for the Chevrolet Grand Prix here at CTMP, because you do not want to put too much energy into them to start with, because they don't like that, Jeremy. They've got to be looked after early on, and there has to be, as I said, a little bit of respect and a little bit of care bringing these tyres up.
Yeah, absolutely right, John. And that 01 car just came into the pits again for a change of tyres, so I think they're scrubbing it. They're only allowed 3 sets of tyres from the beginning of this qualifying session till the end of the race tomorrow. They have 6 sets to use during the weekend, but only 3 sets from qualifying to cover qualifying and the race. So the 01 team going out there right away, scrub both of those sets of tyres for tomorrow's race, and now in the 3rd set he'll go for his qualifying times.
Jeremy Shaw and John Hindhaugh in the global booth. And we should say thank you, by the way, to our colleagues at NASCAR Productions, as ever, both at Charlotte and Trackside, making sure that we can see all the way around the circuit and bring you coverage this weekend. Shea Adam in the pit lane is on site. We, like our commentary colleagues from NBC, are remote from the circuit and enjoying the pictures that you are seeing around the world. If you're trackside, you've got the best seat in the house, and we are somewhat envious of this weekend. Great circuit, old school circuit. Love getting out into the far reaches on the golf cart, watching the early sessions when we were allowed to do such things. 13 and a half minutes to go, and we're starting to see the times come down a little bit, and no surprises to me that Pete Motorani is leading the way, Jeremy Shaw, with the Whelen Cadillac number 31.
No, and that is the fastest lap by a Cadillac yet this week. This morning's session, he did a qualifying simulation. Ended up only 7th fastest this morning, 107.1. This afternoon he's done a 106.5, and now bringing that car into the pit lane just about halfway through this session. So it's a good lap time, laid down by people. He's fastest at the moment by less than a couple of tenths over Ricky Taylor in the Acura car number 10.
New tyres for the number 10 car of Ricky Taylor. Now, normally in the qualifying session, for people in the pit lane, the 31 Whelen car, normally touching the car in a qualifying session would disqualify all the times. As here comes the Konica Minolta car across the line, and Jeremy, you've nailed it there, 105.734, 3/4 of a second for Ricky Taylor at the Wayne Taylor Racing with Andretti Autosport run Konica Minolta Acura. Acura love this place, Jeremy.
Yeah, they do, and it's interesting, isn't it? I mean, they've always gone well here, Acura. Mindset compared to the previous chapter and we've sort of seen the same. The dominance of the track as was the case in the past, but it certainly suited this weekend. And Taylor was fastest this morning at a 105.870. That goes quicker than that, 105.734. That is the benchmark to beat with, what have we got, 7 minutes remaining?
A bit more than that, 11 minutes still remaining. Don't forget, it's a 20-minute session.
Yeah. Oh, right.
Yeah, reset your stopwatch there, Jeremy. Come on. Yeah, thank you.
Good. Exactly. But what was interesting to me that Pipo Derani, he did 3, let's say, quick laps there in addition to 2 more on that first set of tyres, whereas the Cadillac team, they just did 1 in and out, I believe, on 2 different sets of tyres. And now Sebastian Bourdais is he back out again?
Waiting to see in the pit lane at the moment. Just left. Bourdais, yeah. and he is just coming over the top of turn 2 at the moment. Hello to Michael Wallace, who's listening to us at the circuits, as many of you are. A little bit of high cloud, what I always called Simpsons cloud at the minute. You know what I'm talking about by that. It's not holding the track temperature down too much, 31 Celsius at the moment. That's 88 Fahrenheit, 77 Fahrenheit, 25 in the air, as Ricky Taylor holds sway then by 3/4 of a second, but not for long, as Blomqvist, Tom Blomqvist goes to the top. It's an Acura 1-2, 105.653, 0.081 of a second between the two Acuras. Now we're talking, Jeremy. And neither of the Acuras, by the way, have been into the pits for the second set of tyres yet.
Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? Yes, and that was a good more than half a second that Blomqvist has found this afternoon compared to his morning best, which was a 106.1 this morning, which was still good enough for second position then, but he was 2.5 tenths behind Ricky Taylor, but he's still on the tables at the moment. There's still plenty of time remaining in this session. The only GTP cars yet to set a qualifying time is Sebastian Bourdais.
Still,
Jaminet hasn't turned a representative time either.
yes.
And he's only just completed his 4th lap. So he went out a good bit after everybody else. And he hasn't yet come back into the pits either in that kind of a 6. We heard Shay talk about the different strategies that the two Porsche Penske cars were apparently taking going into this qualifying session.
Jeremy Shaw with me, John Hindorf, in the Global Broadcast Centre. Shea Adam on site at CTMP, bringing you this live coverage from WeatherTech Sports Car Championship. Full coverage, including our Michelin Countdown to Green, Porsche keys to the race tomorrow. We'll have our VP Racing in race updates, as well as our full coverage for you. Still to come today, of course. Have the Michelin Pilot Challenge live in sound and vision for those of you outside the US. Comes flag to flag, no subscription for you. If you are in the US and you're moving around, then IMSARadio.com, you can listen to us with no charge. Part of our commitment to For the Fans here on IMSA Radio, as it has always been since the days of the American Le Mans Series, bringing you the democracy of radio to the sports car community around the world on a very busy motorsport weekend. Thanks for spending your time with us. So now let's see who dives to the pit lane. Cars who've not yet pitted. Jaminet, who's now got in a decent-ish time in the Porsche. Nick Yellerly in the 25 BMW. He's not pitted. Felipe Nasser in the 7 Porsche. That's the black stripes across the top of the car. Durrani improves but stays 3rd. He has stopped. Bourdais been down the pit lane twice. And we've still not had either of the Acuras in. I wonder, Jeremy, whether they're going to try and do this session on one set of tyres.
Really interesting, isn't it? And that was Sebastian Bourdais dropped into 4th on his first representative lap. It was 106.7. As you say, Pipo Derani did improve last time around, 105.829. So within 2 tenths of a second of Blomqvist's quickest time at the moment. He now brings on a 60 car into the pit lane. But for Derani, he was purple in sectors 2 and 3, but he lost 4 tenths of a second through that first sector, which is it's less than 20 seconds, but he lost a lot of time compared to the 2 Acuras.
That is a lot. Shea Adam is watching what's going on. Shea, what is going on in the pit lane for the 2 Acuras?
Nothing. Whole lot of nothing. They are both now in their pit boxes. No work going on, no tires up on the wall. They are just sitting there having thrown down the gauntlet and saying to everyone else, all right, you can catch us. It's a dangerous thing when Sebastian Bourdais is still working his way up to a good lap, though.
Durrani's pitted as well. Okay, you're allowed to change time. Are you allowed Tim Hortons coffee and some Timbits while you're waiting, Shea? That is the question. Does it say that in the SSRs? I'm not sure.
It does not say that you're not allowed in the SSR, so I would say it's perfect weather for an ice cap and a large one made with the well, no, I'll just go for the original with the cream. Pete Rani has been lured in. You mentioned ice cap, so of course he does appear.
Well, I'm keeping going at the moment with some sacred iced coffee back here in the UK, and they've got 20% off in North America and in the UK with the code Le Mans 20 at the moment. Tubbs and the rest of the team at Sacred Coffee. RSL Le Mans Classic, actually. With their machines and the capsules, well, whether it's big capsules or any of your needs for tea and coffee, Sacred Cafe is the place to be. Le Mans will give you 20% off in the US or in Europe. So, I think he has, Jeremy, yeah?
Maybe. He did improve last time around. What was his position? 1 minute 6.266 last time for Bourdais. Still, he's losing a lot of time to that first sector compared only to the two Acuras, because the two Cadillacs, they're doing sort of 19.5 seconds through that first sector, but whereas the Acura's 19.1. They've got everybody well handled through those first couple of corners. Because where's the first split is it's in the middle of turn 3, isn't it? So turns 1, 2, and mostly 3 is the first sector. 3 very quick corners.
Very quick indeed. A little bit of a note here for Mike Rockenfeller. Had a long check. Shall I try and do that in English? Had a long chat with Rocky at Le Mans when he was involved in that phenomenal project of the NASCAR Cup car, and he was absolutely delighted with how things were going for JDC and their Porsche 963. And that car going around again, all right, it's not at the front of the field, Jeremy, but it's ahead of one of the works cars by nearly 4/10 of a second. So you've got to say they're not doing a bad job here.
They're doing a fantastic job. I completely agree with you. Really impressive. I mean, Mike Rockenfeller, he's less than 1/10 of a second behind, well, the two BMWs, because they're covered by nothing at all, 0.04 between the two BMWs. Then Rocky has turned a 106.946, 106.946 for Rocky. And you say Matthew Jaminet doesn't seem yet. He just went personal best in the final sector on his last lap in car number 6, but he's still languishing almost 4/10 behind Mike Rockenfeller in that 9th position in GTP. That's car number 6. Good lap now. He's coming through turn 1. What was his last sector time? Final sector time was slow. Okay, so he gave up that last lap. Let's see what he can do now. Coming through turn 2. First sector now. Let's see what it is.
Squealer tyres there, which you don't normally hear on slick tyres, so he's on the ragged edge, Jeremy.
Yeah, but it's slow. It's over 20 seconds through that first sector. And the quick guys are all mid-19s at best. 19.1 for the two Acuras, but 19.4 or 5 for most other guys. So 20.0 it was for Jaminet on that lap.
Still action to come later on today on IMSA Radio and IMSA TV, as we have 2 hours of excitement for you with the Michelin Pilot Challenge as the number 6 peels off and Mathieu Jaminet is the last of the GTPs into the pit lane.
Can we go back to 15 minutes, please? We've got 1.5 minutes remaining, and all the cars in the pits. So I think it's fair to, well, yeah, they're done now because there isn't time to get out around and start another flying lap. So yeah, let's go back to 15 minutes. But look, that was a tremendous qualifying session again, and great speed there. Tom Blomqvist, wow, that's a tremendous effort for Tom. He is the track record holder here last year. It was a 104.394. I think I misspoke earlier on. The average speed though, 137 miles an hour. Not quite as quick as the outright pole time here, which was Dindo Capello in the Audi R10 TDI 104.0 back in 2008, when, as you were talking about earlier on, John, they had mega horsepower and ridiculous amounts of money.
Yeah, and they were able to turn those cars up in qualifying, which you can't really do now. You can trim them out, you can put as little fuel in as possible. What you can't do is turn up the turbo boost. We've said before, same era, R10 TDI lap record in the race is a 105.8, and that is still, to me, that is more comparable, that we are, right there with a 105.8 for the outright, for the lap record for racing, and there we are with a 105.6 in this session. That tells you all you need to know, Jeremy, as far as I'm concerned.
Absolutely right, John. I completely agree with you. I mean, for the first time out with these cars at this track, some of the teams have been doing some testing here. They've certainly done a fair amount of simulations, but putting their money where their mouths are today in qualifying, that was a really exciting session. And hats off to the accuracy. They've certainly got a really good car this weekend. Through those first 2 or 3 corners, it's particularly good. And the rest of the lap, it's good enough. And they come away with first and second on the grid, and the All Acura team will be absolutely thrilled with that.
Hello to Brandon Garaskia. I hope I said that right, Brandon. Was meant to be at the track today, but the car didn't start. So he went back to bed and tuned into IMSA radio and to the video. Brandon, better luck tomorrow. Get it on charge. You'll want to see what is going on tomorrow. And to David Lister, the exceptionally talented photographer in Middlesbrough, here in the UK, tuning in from the River Tees, the banks of the River Tees. Always enjoyed the trips to CTMT. Still my favourite smoggy, Dave Lister. And that includes Sunderland's manager, Tony Mowbray. So I'm giving you great praise there, David. Hope you're well, Dave. I haven't seen you for too long. Next time I'm heading up north, I'll pop in for a cup of coffee and a whinge and a moan about the old days, because we all do that, don't we? So we have a pole sitter for the Chevrolet Grand Prix. Shea Adam has Tom Blomqvist. He's making a bit of a habit of this year.
I got a bit of deja vu, honestly, John, because there was this very situation a year ago where all of a sudden Tom Blomqvist put the car on pole, put it there quite commandingly, as clearly Ricky Taylor wants an interview as he's revving up that Acura to try and give us a feel of what Acura sounds like around here, because it is the Chevrolet Sports Car Grand Prix for tomorrow, but it's not the bow tie on pole. It is indeed an Acura, and for Tom Blomqvist, his 5th career pole, including the one here last year, which it started out pretty well, although he did bring the car home second last year. Well, he didn't. He started it. Ollie Jarvis brought it home second. Let's see if maybe Colin Brown, his co-driver with 5 wins, can help bring a little bit of luck to the Meyershank Racing team to try and get victory. They're still looking for their 2nd win this year and still trying to find their way back into the championship. But John, just before I get Tom, something for us to think about, the point spread between the 60 Acura and the 24 BMW was about 24 points. I think it was 25 points coming into today with qualifying, and the Acura taking 35. Where did the 24 qualify, and does this indeed switch them places in the championship? It's just something to keep in the back of our mind. But, I see Mike Shank walking down the pit lane. So before we get Tom, let's get a quick word with the man in the pink shoes. Mike, congratulations. Pole position 2 years in a row at this place. How much harder was it with the new car?
It's been tricky, but everybody at HPD and Acura and our team and the engineers, Tom, of course, all do a great job. We've had a tough year, it's no secret, but we've never stopped trying, never stopped digging. We intend to contend for the win tomorrow, which we missed by 1 position last year. So looking forward to it. Just keep impressed with Tom's speed, and he didn't actually get it all together that lap. I thought he could go a little better, and he did too. But that's the great part of it. We got a little margin here, and work on the car in the warm-up, and be ready to go racing tomorrow.
You guys didn't come in and put on different sets of tires, meaning you've got more new tires for the race. How much of an advantage do you think that'll be over competition?
You know, we learned a little lesson out at Laguna this year, and we just want to make sure we're tight, a little tighter maybe, and we'll see where it goes. But we think the car's pretty good and look forward to it. And Colin Braun is just super fast around this place, so we look forward to him finishing.
5 wins for him so far at this track. Good luck making it 6.
Thank you.
That's Mike Shank, man with his name over the door, walking down to congratulate his driver, Tom Blomqvist, putting it on pole once again, 2nd year running at CTMP. Tom, it feels like deja vu. How does it feel for you to be back on pole here?
Yeah, I mean, I was confident that we could do it. You know, the car's been really quick. Colin's been really quick. To be honest, I've struggled with a little bit with the car. Than Colin, you know, he can run it pretty aggressively, and I haven't been super comfortable with it. I mean, I'm always confident when it comes to qualifying, new tires, low fuel, and that grip, and exploiting that grip. So, you know, I was confident that I could get the job done in qualifying, and, you know, thankfully we managed to do so. Although I wasn't particularly happy with the run, you know, the car had more potential, just was a bit of a messy run for me, but nonetheless, a pole's the pole, and that's the best you can do, so I've got to be happy with that.
Is it better to leave a qualifying session knowing there's more on the table, or knowing you extracted every last ounce out of the car?
You're always more satisfied when you when you extract a little bit out of it. I felt like I didn't, but more from, you know, being a little bit messy. But, you know, that's the way it goes sometimes. And yeah, I definitely put it on the table again. And yeah, happy to be back here in pole position. Last year we didn't win, so tomorrow the goal is clearly to finish the job off.
Congrats today. Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you. Cheers, guys.
So pole sitter for tomorrow, we'll have it for you live and exclusively free here on IMSA Radio and IMSA TV. Well done to Tom Blomqvist and the MSR Acura crew, and to Gar Robinson for Riley in the Ligier for taking LMP3 pole. Jack Hawksworth's on pole for Vassar Sullivan in the Lexus in GTD Pro, and Heart of Racing team with Roman De Angelis captured the pole in GTD. They'll all come to the green flag tomorrow. We'll have Michelin countdown to green before that. For Shea, Jeremy and me, John Hindle, thanks for now, but more action to come from CTMP with our Saturday main race, the Michelin Pilot Challenge, coming just a bit later on. For now, however, from CTMP, thanks for joining us and bye for now.